Hi, I'm Aislinn. I use they them pronouns. I'm an interdisciplinary artist, writer, educator, usually all rolled into one. In my practice, I explore the intersections of working class, neurodiverse queerness, often reclaiming and disrupting oppressive cultural narratives in the process. I'm also a massive monster enthusiast and a genderqueer butch lesbian, all very relevant stuff. My practice as a comic maker began in 2016 when I launched my 3-year, 320-page webcomic, There Was a War. It's weird to look back at now. It contains a lot of seeds of my practice, but in a protean form. It's about two young girls, a monster and a witch, falling in love during an ancient Irish war. It's online for free if you want to read it. It's strange and clumsy, but sincere and, I think, often beautiful. While making There Was a War, I was also exploring experimental and expanded comics and developing a parallel practice as a performance poet. Say that 5 times fast. For 2 examples of my work twisting between poetry and comics, here is a triptych of plates entitled Communion about Bridget Clary, a woman murdered in 19th century Ireland when her husband became convinced she was a changeling. And here is a page from my poetry comic You Are Here, tracking the relationship between mother and daughter through space. PDFs are available online. From There Was a War to Communion, the idea of queering the monster in various ways has always been a big interest of mine. This interest came to a head with Bad Blood Moon, the graphic novel that I've been shortlisted for at LDC. When I started Bad Blood Moon, I was exploring ideas of the monstrous feminine laid out by Barbara Creed and Harry M. Benshoff's Monster Queer, both of whom were inspired by Julia Kristeva's theory of abjection. I won't get too theory heavy here, but just so we're on the same page, the abject is all that is repulsive, disgusting, horrific. Kristeva describes it as things that do not respect borders, positions, rules, and disturb identity, system, order. So basically, all queers are abject. The abject is queer territory. Wicked. Thinking about this, about depictions of female hysteria and alienation in films such as Possession and The Witch, and also Kafka's Metamorphosis, I started working on a story about a little girl who experiences puberty as turning into a monster. It was heavily based on my own experiences of puberty and ongoing alienation from my body. At the time, I identified casually as non-binary, but primarily as a woman, because I had no other choice. But while creating this comic, I came across Susan Stryker. In her performance, My Words to Victor Frankenstein, Stryker compares the treatment of trans women to that of Frankenstein's monster and constructs an argument for the healing and protective power of trans rage, trans monstrosity as pride. Basically, making this comic forced me to come out again after years creeping back into the closet. After encountering Stryker, I realised that my comic was really about being trans. Wicked. Bad Blood Moon uses the werewolf as a vehicle to explore the distressing experience of trans youth during puberty. Puberty is part absurd, part terrifying, for everyone in it. But if your body is becoming something you don't consent to, don't recognise, becomes hostile to yourself, well, you become abject. That's what dysphoria is. Using the werewolf gave me a space to explore those feelings, abjection, rejection, dysphoria, indirectly, tapping into that semiotic order that Kristeva talks about. Every werewolf story is a transition story, but for once, I wanted the eventual succumbing to the monstrous instinct to be a happy ending. So Bad Blood Moon follows a little girl, who turns into a wolf. She lives with her mother and grandmother on a failing sheep farm, and the remnants of her absent father are all around her. It's a delirious, drifting, internal narrative. I aim for something where the symbolic overtakes the literal. I consider it a very long poetry comic. I was, of course, heavily inspired by Emile Ferris' My Favourite Thing is Monsters, as well as Emily Carroll's Through the Woods, Alison Bechdel, Angela Carter, The Witch, and my dark mother, Susan Stryker. The entire book is projected to be 90 to 100 pages long. It is hand-drawn with some collage, and the text is digitally hand-lettered. You can purchase a very limited run of print samples, PDF samples, and zines featuring the original text in full at my online store. You can also book me for performances of the text. I have an example performance on my YouTube channel. Any support you can give to this project is massively appreciated, given that all my paid work is in performance and education. All my income for the coming months has gone out the window. Thank you for listening. You can find me online at these places. Finally, may your rage transform your actions, and your actions transform you, as you struggle to transform your world. Stay abject.